Okay, what is up? I'm here. You see, it got a little bit fancy this time. Got some music playing. Got some. It's so cool. It's so cool to get some of this stuff to work. It's about 9 o'clock, but you know how I do. I give people. Well, it's 9 o'clock here in Japan, of course. Give people time to come in, and I just kind of hang out. And I don't know what I do these first couple of minutes, but I just kind of wait because this time I'm usually like scrambling the first hour before the live stream, like mad dash to last minute invite people. But this time I've got the process a little bit down, right? It's got a little bit better. So it was pretty streamlined, a lot smoother. Like, okay, I know where I'm going to send stuff. I know I have my strategy. I'm all about like um, making things to where it, it becomes a process. And when the process is complete, then it's just kind of like, oh wait, boop, press the button and execute, and it's done. Um, but first, I got to check and make sure. I was paranoid about this. Every time I start a live stream, I'm like, I got to check and make sure it's live and that people can hear me because that's the nightmare situation, right? I'm up here talking to myself and nobody can hear me. That would be a huge fail. So I'm just gonna check real quick, make sure it's all good, um, and see. Actually, I need to change to my regular account because it's probably gonna be up. Um, okay, here we go. Oh, okay, good. All right, just got to make sure because, oh boy, I'm afraid of that. That's so got a little bit more fancy, like I said. Music got things going. Things are, man. I'm really pumped about this live stream. Just man, it's been a good month. It's been a good month for me. Um, First month of the year started off right. Yeah, I got no complaints, but I'm gonna wait to see if some people trickle in, and um, I got to figure out how to do this because I'm doing it on a different back end. So let me see how I can do this. I can still like see the. Okay, I'll just mute the sound on that one. Okay, now I can see myself looking confused. It's always weird when people are doing a live stream and then they start looking at their screen like they're working, and then you see how much of kind of a fool you look like when you're just on your computer doing stuff. You're just like it's strange. It's interesting. Okay, got one person in. Uh, because I'm using, and this is the challenge, right? For this new first time, I'm using this Restream.io. That's why you can see my name in the bottom. So this isn't Zoom. This is brand new stuff. This is the first time I'm using this. So I'm kind of like learning how to use it as I'm using it, which is a little bit scary because I've never used it before, so I'm not really sure how it works. Usually, I just do the YouTube live stream thing, and then it's like, okay, it's good to go. So if you're in the chat I gotta try and ignore looking at myself, especially with the lag. Um, but if you're in the chat on YouTube, I don't know. We'll see how that works. Maybe somebody whoever's there right now. I got one person here. Thank you for being the first person here. Shout out to you, whoever you are. Um, if you don't mind sending a message in the chat, and I just want to see, um, yeah, I just want to see like what happens if it shows up on my restream thing or if it shows up on YouTube. Like I know it's going to show up on YouTube if you type it on YouTube, but yeah, about 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna get started. I don't care if there's nobody here or if there's one person here, but I actually had for the first time, I had one person waiting for the live stream, which is new. Usually there's 0 people waiting. So that means, the word's getting around. I gotta hydrate myself, man. I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking in the next hour. So to get my notepad, I got my notepad out, and there goes my keys. Knocked them off camera. And let me see. There's somebody. I got one person here. We got one person watching. All right, 5 minutes. So how's everybody doing? How's the new year going? Well, not everybody. How are you doing? The one person that's here. I just still don't know who it is. Of all my my getting people to join last minute. A lot of people start out with the new year with New Year's resolutions, and it's a good time to kind of reassess, look at your goals, and as you know, maybe the last time, maybe you watched my last live stream from the end of the year. That was great. I actually watched it a few times. I like to watch my own stuff sometimes, just to just see. Um, I don't know, see what I was talking about. Sometimes it's funny. Go back and see what I was talking about. Um, but yeah, it's a good time to just kind of reflect and think about the whole year, what I accomplished, what I didn't accomplish, what I wanted to do better this year. So, um, yeah, I did that, and that was great. So I was like, man, I like doing it so much. I think I'm gonna do it again. I think I'm gonna do this live stream thing again because I like it. I think it's fun. Um, I think it's a good way for people to interact with me. I think it's a good way for them, obviously, to find my stuff and find what I'm talking about. And yeah, just kind of like it. So in 3 more minutes, I will get started because I know a lot of people watch these like after the fact, and I know the timing's always weird. Because I'm in Japan, I gotta make some concessions, of course, for the time, and um, yeah, it's always a challenge over here. It's never easy, but yeah, that's the way it goes. It's 9 a.m. here in Japan, Saturday morning, and it's evening over there in the States, or if you're somewhere else, obviously. I'm not sure what time it is. I'm tracking just the way it is. Oh, okay. Nice, nice. Okay, cool. I can see. Thank you. Um, whatever your username is. Um, I can see your chat on my back end. So that's great. Thanks for checking it out. I'm not sure. I don't recognize the screen name, so I'm not sure if you're somebody I know or not, but you're the only one here. So it's me and you. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have anybody at this point. It's that type of life I'm at right now. That's all right. It's slowly um, getting up there. I'm enjoying the ride. 2 more minutes, and then I will get started. I feel like sometimes I want to change up my background. I try to move like this part of my desk is usually very messy because it's immediately right here. This is over here. There's nothing, and then this is my desk. So, and that's the part that's like super visible. So I always have to like move everything down. It just went down there in that pile. Everything just went down there, and um, yeah, that's the extent of my cleaning. So I like to have this kind of neat. Um, but you know how it is, these live streams. Sometimes I think about changing it up. I see people doing green screens, and I know there's a lot you can do with this restream.io, which, like I said, this is my first time using it um, in a live stream. So maybe I'll learn how to use it better. I probably will. But I know you can do green screens. I know that a lot of people use the green screens. I've seen a good amount of YouTubers doing that. So well, maybe I'll try it out sometime. I don't know. But yeah, I could just do my own background. That would be cool. Okay, about one more minute and then I will get started into uh, KSJUF. Where are you at? Where are you at? Whoever you are. Are you in the States? Are you here in Japan? Like, どこでいますか? Where are you? I even managed to it was funny because oh, well, I'm about to start, but I'm blasting my stuff out to all the socials. Instagram. I'm new to Instagram. I had never used Instagram before. Scott said I had like a long time ago, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, but I didn't really do anything with it. I posted a few pictures, but um, yeah, so I was posting out, and then I was like, oh no, oh shit, I don't know how to post to Instagram. I don't know how to do this. So yeah, that was a learning experience. And I was like, I have to have a picture? What? What's it? That's the extent of my Instagram posting. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to get started because, I like to keep these at only an hour or so. I don't like to go too long. Uh, if you don't know me, my name is Keith Hayden. I'm author, podcaster, course creator. I like to call myself a creator, um, but most of all, I'm a teacher. And I'm wearing this shirt that I got last year during COVID, a place I taught, and it says educators can do virtually anything. And yeah, so I- I'm really leaning into the teaching aspect, and this has been kind of a transformation for me because previously, and I'm going to talk about this later, how I'm started teaching again. But before I started this recent teaching job, I wasn't really teaching. Well, I wasn't in a traditional teaching job like you would think, like in a classroom, students in front of you, that type of thing. But in my heart, like I'm a teacher. I love learning stuff and I like imparting that information to other people and empowering them to do what they will with the information. It doesn't matter if it's a 14-year-old kid or if it's a grown man or woman. It doesn't matter. I really just love sharing knowledge that useful knowledge that will help make people better or make their lives better and make it easier. And I do that through education, technology, and story. That's kind of my main goal for how I present my stuff to the world in one of those formats or a combination of all three. So that's who I am. And lately, in the last few months, I've been doing a lot more of this. Um, just updating, doing this because, like I said at the beginning of the live stream, I like doing it. I think it's a lot of fun. On occasion, I get to interact with people when there are people that are here. Right now, there's only one person that's here, but that's cool. Maybe more people show up, and there's always people that watch it after the fact because it lives. It's just kind of there, just like everything online nowadays. So what I want to talk about this month, obviously, I did a better job of kind of like teasing it, like what I was going to talk about, and that's kind of meta, what I'm going to talk about as far as some things I've been really getting better at as I've been going along. So just to start off, if you are looking to find any of the information that I present today during this live stream, the best place to find it is my website, keithhayden.net. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and post it in the chat because it's like the number one place. I don't care what other place that I talk about, keithhayden.net, that's the main place. That's my website, and yeah, you heard it there first. So today, what are we talking about? Business, 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 business. Let's get down to business. So I have been working on starting my own business for a while now. I've had it was past several months. I think it was October or November that established my website, Tower of Babbling, learn Japanese, and I've been telling people that the business is going to be me helping military affiliated people become proficient and confident in the Japanese language. That's the primary mission statement. So I've been slowly going on this journey, and maybe you've seen on Facebook, I've started to um, really post like what I'm doing. I'm also been doing the same on LinkedIn as well. Um, I've started to post, like, hey, here's what I'm doing every day, and here's what I'm starting on my own business, and I've never done this before. This is my first time. So, oh, I think my one person left. Now it's just me. Okay, that's fine. Um, the challenge is that you're going through this, and really what I'm trying to identify are my blind spots, right? Because when you're starting a business, you typically have, your idea, what you want to do, what, some type of tool or something you're passionate about or something like that. But um you know what it is. But um all the other business aspects, maybe you're not so keen to when it comes to like getting insurance or marketing or business plan, all those kind of fine details. And that's where I know I'm lacking. I know there are several blind spots, and I've been talking to people. I've been plugged into a military spouse network that is great at helping military spouses like form their business, and they've been very helpful. AMC, thank you if you're watching this. You probably won't see it, but yeah, it's been good. It's been good, helpful. So, since I've started that journey, and I talked about this, there was going to be a twist, and there has been a twist. Just in the last few days, I've been kind of really validating my idea as far as, yeah, people get the warm fuzzies when I tell them, hey, I want to, help people learn Japanese, become more proficient. But is the market really there? And over the last few days, I've basically come to the decision that it is not there. Um, my method really appeals to people who are super hardcore learners, and if you're watching this and you're on my list, I I meant what I said when I sent out that email earlier this week. I really thank you and appreciate you for believing in, wanting to learn Japanese, believing in me to be able to help you learn Japanese. But, I've come to realize that we're in the minority, as far as language learners. Most people here, especially in Okinawa, you don't need Japanese to get by, especially if they're military affiliated, because your nucleus is typically one of the bases or a place that speaks English. If you're not Japanese, of course, which is the people that I'm want to work with. So it was kind of a gut check, like, hey, this is kind of the reality of it. Um, there's not going to be a large amount of people of the people that care about learning Japanese. A large amount of them are just going to be super casual. I think of it like a pyramid, right? On the base are the super casual people that are like, hey, just give me a few phrases. I don't really care about grammar. I don't care about vocab. I don't care about doing all these crazy things in Japanese. I just tell me what to say. And then the next level up are the people that, like those of you who joined my list, right? You're like, hey, I'm interested in learning Japanese. I really want to get better. I really want to, get some words down and learn how to make my own sentences and all this stuff. And then there's people, goes up, people that want to take a test and maybe live, or maybe they have a partner that speaks Japanese. And then there's like top tier, like, I want to be professionally fluent. Like, I want to take the JLPT. I want to live in Japan. I want to work at a Japanese company. And those are I understand those are very rare type of people, few and far between. So, bottom line is, as a business model, it didn't really pan out. Um, and that was hard. That was kind of a kick in the pants, because I'm like, I've been thinking about this for months. I've been, sort of posturing and signaling that I'm going in that direction. And, I do feel kind of bad that, yeah, I do feel a little bad that, one, I'm not going to be able to do it. Two, that um, it's just not a viable business. So what's going to happen from here? Well, it does not mean that I'm going to shut Tower of Babbling or anything down. If you are currently on my Tower of Babbling Learn Japanese list, that's going to continue to exist. TOB, how to learn Japanese.guide. My website for, actually, I'm going to pull it up now. My website for learning Japanese, that's going to continue to exist. just because it's already up and people are going. So why not? But it just won't exist as a business. Like it will probably be rolled up into one of my other my main business, which is going to be Hack Studios, Hayden Academy Collective Studios, and that's going to be my personal business that I'm going to start, and that's going to be my arm for creation, consulting. Like it's going to be. I don't want to say it's going to do. It's going to do basically whatever I want it to do at the end of the day, which is nice. I like that to be able to say, "Hey, I want to work with you. Um, whatever. Let's make a podcast together. Let me help you with your business, with your marketing. You know, I can do that. Something like that." So it's just going to be rolled up under there. So that's what's going to happen. It's not going to go away. Um, Next, my Japanese. My Japanese has kind of skyrocketed this month. I really got remotivated, and as I said in my, if you go back to my live stream from last month, I was like, I don't really have any Japanese plans. I'm just gonna whatever, see what happens. And this is kind of what happened. I kind of fell back in love with it. I've been listening to a lot more content. Like that was one of my goals actually, was to listen to more content, podcasting, podcast shadowing, um, doing a lot of shadowing. And maybe if you're on my Tower of Babbling page, you saw that have started to play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild completely in Japanese. Yes, it's happening. And it's going well, actually. Zelda no Densetsu. I'm playing it in Japanese for the first time. And of course, I've played Breath of the Wild. This will be my third time playing the game. I love that game. It is just, man, it's an amazing game. But um, yeah, I'm playing it all in Japanese and I'm just doing like the main quests, but it's been great. Of course, it was slow in the beginning, but I've already seen my reading go up, comprehension go up, that type of thing. So it's been a great exercise. So I'm doing all these things in Japanese. That's the point. Still learning a lot, learning new vocab every day. It's been great. So, um, also talking about the business, two other things I wanted to talk about. Language, when it comes to language learning, I love languages, and one language that I've been paying very close attention to in the last couple of months are the language of memes. And you may not think of them as a language, but they kind of are, right? It's just you're saying something with a picture, and then maybe you have some words. It's kind of a combination of picture and words, right? The picture says something, but then the words say something, and then you can kind of remove it. And we all know these memes, but I don't think I've heard anybody kind of talk about them as a language in this type of in this type of way. But I think of them as a language, and I think it's pretty cool that this is kind of evolving. And some people think it's silly and whatever, but I'm telling you, like, let me just. This is one of the reasons I wanted to. I'm going to share my screen and show you one of my memes that I created a week ago, and this meme right here. This meme has it low key blew up. I mean, Facebook, we're talking like 7,000 plus impressions. And yeah, I know impressions don't count for a lot of stuff, but that means 7,000 people saw this. It was shared many, many times. And literally, y'all, I made this meme, especially since I've started working. I have like a very limited amount of time in the morning to do stuff. I made this meme in like 20 minutes. And it had that type of reach. So the point is, I'm bringing this up because I'm paying attention. Like I'm trying to like get better at making these memes, and I've made a few others as well that didn't have as much reach. Here's another one I made, uh, and I made this one as well. If you're here in Japan, you'll find this funny. If you're not, then you probably won't find it funny. I just like we got Jordan Peele here just sweating. My man sweating. But anyway, the point is I'm paying attention to this stuff because it goes back to business because this is what people see. This is how people consume stuff nowadays. It's mostly through feeds on social media. That's the primary, by far, the biggest source of that's where people are, love it or hate it. That's what's happening. So it behooves me to study that and get better at that. Um, Also, another thing, another unexpected consequence or result, I should say, of doing my business and doing more stuff online is that my graphic design stuff, I, I never considered myself a graphic designer. In fact, I never really liked art at all when I was a kid. I almost hated it, but obviously I've designed my own logo. Maybe you've noticed that you've probably seen this logo around. I designed this myself, and I like the arrow, the light, the dark, the kind of contrast between like left brain, right brain, this kind of synthesis. But then moving forward, right? This is kind of what I was thinking when something like that when I designed this. So you'll see that on my website. Um, this is probably my best work right here. This looks like, to me, this looks like, I don't know, it looks like a YouTube title card. It looks like great. And I use this for a blog post. But my point is, I've learned that doing just text, it doesn't really interrupt people's attention enough. Like the image at least, stops them. I think people kind of expect images now in their social media feeds, like just text. Okay, maybe if it's your friend or whatever, a casual update, you'll look at it. But if it's from someone you don't know, you maybe you won't look at it. So to like kind of stop people's attention, they talk about that, right? In marketing, arresting people's attention, basically. And there's a couple ways to do it. Of course, you could say it's an emergency and urgency, breaking news, right? That's the big way. But that's kind of disingenuous, right? When you're talking about, hey, will you just read my blog post? I don't think that really works. So you got to kind of just be yourself and find your own stuff that works. But yeah, I've been doing more and more original stuff. This was something that I made for one of my Vurbl posts. So, um, yeah, just kind of changing it up and just kind of experimenting. And this stuff doesn't take long. I mean, I use Canva. I love Canva. It's really simple. You can make really clean stuff, really fast. So I like doing that. And I'm by no means an expert, but um, yeah, making my own logos, making my own stuff. I made this for Tower of Babbling. So anyway, I'm showing you this stuff because it all goes back to the business and making it better. So if you're trying to do your own stuff and you're watching this, maybe you take some notes, right? So I'm going to take this time to remind you to subscribe to my email list. And I have a little bit of incentive at the end to tell you why you should subscribe. But yeah, to help you, encourage you, if you will, to subscribe. Uh, And of course, you can follow me on social, and then I'll talk about that at the end. Let's move on to talking about Twitter. So Twitter, this goes on to my tech, my kind of tech journey. But Twitter, and I'll share my screen in a second. Twitter has kind of low key blown up for me, and I talked about, you know, am I an influencer on Twitter? The answer is not really. No. But I will say I'm not there yet. Um, First of all, I'm not trying to become an influencer. Let me make that clear. That was never really my intention. My intention really when I started was to I had heard obviously if you're a developer and you're in coding, you've probably heard of the hashtag 100 days of code challenge. And what this is, if you're a non-developer, it's you commit to doing 100 days of coding, an hour a day, and ideally, it should be, consecutive, right? You should do 100 days, all straight. That typically doesn't happen, of course, because life gets in the way and, every weekend you just can't do it. You got family, you got work. But, that's the intent, right? To get better. Alright, somebody else showed up. Nice. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Um, that's the intent is to commit 100 days to getting better at coding. And this is a common challenge that is popular on tech Twitter or in the tech space. So I wanted to try it, like at first, and I have a couple of audio things talking about how, I wasn't going to do it at first. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then I was like doing it, but I wasn't documenting it. So the first couple of, I think the first 15 days or something, or 12 days maybe, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't posting anything. And then I started posting, and the results speak for themselves, right? Let me show you this. I'm going to share my screen and show you what my Twitter looks like. And here it is, right? Joined November 2021, just about 3 months ago, and 14 followers, following 34 followers, and 34 followers is not a lot of followers. I'll admit that, but and maybe I'll talk about this more in depth later on. But engagement is what matters on social media, not really number of followers. So you could have, there's people that buy followers, there's people that do all sorts of crazy stuff, y'all, out here to get followers and blow up their numbers, but then it's all like paper thin. I'm not saying a lot of people do that, but people do it. And really, my point is, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It's more like, what's your engagement like? That's what I care about. And are you actually making connections? And that brings me to what I wanted to talk about, how I did it. Um, and I say how I did it, like I did something like amazing. I don't think it's very amazing, but it's definitely unexpected. And I did this unintentionally, right? I did this kind of by accident. That okay, wow, I just have people that when I post something, they actually care about it sometimes, right? So one thing I want to show you is just kind of the consistency, right? Like posting every day, and you'll hear people, say, "Oh, you should be posting 3 times a day," and this type of thing, whatever. But consistency matters definitely. You can see today was my 70th day. Here it is, doing this, and it doesn't take much. It's just like, here's what I did today. That's it. You can go as much or as little as you want. You could do a whole thread, but the point is the consistency, right? Consistency is good for other people knowing that you're there, like figuring out that you're actually there, and it's good for the algorithm, right? Because the algorithm, like consistency, does play a factor, right? Like if you're posting every day or 3 times a day, you're gonna get more spread than if you post like once a week or once every 3 days or something. So that's pretty common on all of these social media platforms. The other thing I'm getting out of this is accountability. And I even made a little acronym, by the way, for describing this. I call it CAN, right? Consistency, accountability, and network. So I've talked about consistency. Now I talk about accountability. Obviously, you get accountability because people see. It's interesting, like I told you, I'm playing Breath of the Wild again, and you have like you're on your journey, but then other people, you'll see them like riding their horse and they're selling their wares and stuff. So and that's what is similar to me, like tech Twitter. I think of that. Like everybody's at a different place in their journey. There's tons of different ways to get into tech. Everybody's using different tools, but then occasionally you'll meet people that they're pretty much walking a parallel path. Either they started around the same time as you, or they're using the same tools as you. They're they're getting stuck on the same problems as you, and or they're trying to do the same thing. They're at the same point in their journey. So I've connected with a good amount of people, like not a lot of people, but just a few, to like a level that is like, okay, we're having conversations about stuff. And I'm seeing their stuff, they're seeing my stuff, and it's kind of this, very growth minded thing. It's a very good thing. Of course, you're not going to be like that with everybody. Of course, there's trolls. Of course, there's toxicity. There's like that in every community. But if it really gives you an opportunity to find these people if you're posting your own stuff regularly. And that's what I found with tech Twitter. And then, of course, as a consequence of that, you're going to grow your network at the same time. And, when people talk about networking nowadays, and I was talking to my mom about this, because, of course, she's, of the old school where when you networked, you went to a function, you had to go to somebody's house or go to the hotel or go to the bar or wherever people were meeting. And then okay, now it's time to network. That doesn't really happen as much nowadays, right? It's kind of like a 24/7 thing. Like whenever you want, you can post stuff and then people can find it and then you're networking. So you can kind of be networking all the time if you want, as much as you want. So that's been kind of crazy that my Twitter has, because like I said, that was not my intention to grow my Twitter. And that's the cool thing about the network, is that eventually you can use it for whatever you want. Do you want to find a job? It's pretty easy. I've joined a bunch of Twitter spaces and tech Twitter. It's pretty easy if you want to find a job because then they can see, hey, this is what they know. This is what they're struggling with. I like their attitude, whatever. I'm down with them. Do you want to get in on some type of project or something that they're working on? That's easier too because you've been following their stuff. They know you're working on your own stuff. It's easier to make those collaborations happen. So it's kind of like, or if you're just trying to grow your influence, right? If you're just trying to grow your channel, your spread, you're trying to get clients. If you already have a business, that works too, because they're going to see your stuff. So, point is, is a good thing. This is kind of, I'm not sure what I'm going to use exactly the tech Twitter network for, like, because at the end of the day, I'm really serious about learning the technology. I'm not really trying to, my goal really right now is not to get a job in tech, but I know as I go further along and learn more stuff, I could probably get a job in tech pretty easily. After a few more months of going along, I could probably get a job in tech if I wanted to, which would be cool. But uh, jury's out on that. I'm not sure if I would want to do like full time, like type chat. Not full time, but I mean like just go full tech. Like I said, love teaching, even though I'm teaching in a different capacity. And before I start transition to talking about my experience in the classroom, I want to take this time to give a shout out to Vurbl. Vurbl is the audio platform that's like YouTube for audio, right? And so I've been working with Vurbl for the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 months now, and I'm an ambassador for them. And what that means is that I'm an ambassador for their audiobooks and stories uh, part of their website. So with Vurbl, you can go on there, get short clips, you can listen to it, then you can make playlists. That's a cool thing. They have pillar playlists that they update. Matter of fact, I'm updating it sometimes. That you can go and find different topics. You can find the latest podcasts and things like that. So I've been using Vurbl a lot to do my own stuff. I mentioned it in maybe 2 live streams ago, but I've been posting like original content on there. So basically, little, my tech thoughts, things like that, little just insights that I get about whatever I'm doing. Before I was being more like spread about what I was doing. I was talking about like writing and stuff, reading stuff I was reading. But now 2022, right? Like my goal was to narrow down, focus on stuff. So I'm doing less of that, and really, it's just been about tech thoughts for the most part. But Verbal's really cool. You're gonna see more and more of it on my website because it's just a good way to add an audio component to existing content that's already there. So you're probably gonna see that more. So shout out to Verbal, Molly, and the team, the other ambassadors. I don't know, it's been great. But if you're looking for a platform that's like on the come up, um, Verbal, they have an app now. They just launched their Android app last month, actually in December. So check it out. Go check out Verbal. You won't be disappointed. Okay, so last thing I wanted to talk about. Actually, let me get a sip of water. I got one spectator, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm being spammed. I see this VOM.red. I don't know what the hell that is. Oof, talking a lot in these. And let me post my Verbal playlist to the tech dots. I was like, man, here I'm talking about all of it, and I didn't post no links. What is that? Okay, there we go. You want to check that out? You can. Back to school. So, as I mentioned, I have started. I think I mentioned last live stream, I was going to start a new job, and I did. I started as a substitute teacher at a school here on island, and it's mostly at the high school level. It's been great. Last time, excuse me, last time I was in the classroom, man, March 13th, 2020. It's hard to believe. It's been almost 2 years since I was actually standing up in a classroom teaching students, and I never forget because that's actually the day after my birthday. So, yeah, I remember the kids I was at a middle school at the time, and the kids sang me happy birthday, and that was the last time I ever saw them. And I never saw those kids again. It sounds terrible, and I'm sure that they were fine during COVID, but, um, yeah, that was the last time I was actually physically in a classroom teaching. The rest everything else has been online for almost the past 2 years. So, bottom line is it was cool. It was a little, nerve-wracking a little bit to, like, start again and go back into the classroom, but it worked out great. I really enjoy being with the students. You you learn so much about, um, just the youth culture. I'm a big observer of culture, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. Um, Sometimes it just be so funny. Some of the things they say, some of the things they like talk about, and it's just like high school stuff, like I heard he was talking mess. Oh, I heard she was, like that type of stuff. Like you're like, man, I I I wasn't that type of kid when I was in high school, but it definitely takes me back to a simpler time, right? But um, it's a lot of fun, and I'm actually in an interesting situation at my because even though I'm a substitute teacher, right, and most substitute teachers don't teach, but since I am a certified teacher in math, I actually get to teach every now and then. And for some reason, many of the subs they don't like. They prefer not to sub for math, so it's more for me, right? um, yeah, so I get assigned to most of the math teachers, and sometimes I teach, sometimes I don't. Sometimes, the of course, the teacher leaves plans for what they want to happen while they're out, and sometimes it's like, okay, do this, and yeah, it's just a real chill job. And I want to talk about how it's like kind of fueling my writing because one, obviously, it gives me time to write because you're not doing anything for sometimes, occasionally students ask questions, can I go to the bathroom, whatever. But most of the time, you're left alone. So that gives me time to write. And then it also just, like I said, it gives me that cultural piece. It gives me just more things to like think about as far as education. Because if you're not aware, education reform is it's kind of one of those things that's kind of constantly on my mind. Basically, like, and I talk about this a lot, and it's a big element of my novel, Serious and Limnic, because I've seen, in my own education and then as a teacher, how especially like K through 12, right? It it doesn't really it's inefficient in a lot of ways. A lot of people know that it's not as good as it should be as far as how we teach the kids, as far as how we spend our time. They're aware of that, but a lot of, the students can't do anything about it, obviously. A lot of the teachers, I'll tell you, like, we can't do much about it, like it's the system is what it is. Administrators can't do it. It's like nobody can do anything about it except for like legislators and stuff. And a lot of there's big amounts of money involved. There's state funding. There's community aspect to this. It's a very complex issue that I'm like, I know there's a way to do it better um, for our students and just to modernize our system. Like it's just it's old, y'all. It's based off of industrial revolution stuff where we're training everybody to put widgets in holes and one size fits all, and it doesn't work. Like it works, but it does not meeting the intent that I think it should be meeting. It needs to evolve basically. So anyway, this is one of those things I think about a lot. So being in the school helps me think about that further. So I'm happy to be there. It's pretty cool to be back, and of course, it's nice to get an occasional paycheck now instead of just like I don't know, doing this and hoping people I don't know subscribe or it grows or whatever. Yeah, it's nice to have that that I don't know. It's nice to have that safety net. So those are three things that I wanted to talk about. I talked about all of them. Last thing I want to say is I have an announcement for those of you who have kind of stuck with me. If you are currently on my email list, like the keithhayden.net author email list, um, I've developed something new. I don't know if you remember, I used to do the media recommendations. Maybe you probably do. And I hadn't really thought about what I was going to do with those. But now I found a place for them, and I got the idea kind of from Tim Ferriss, kind of taking a page of his book out of his book, but kind of putting my own spin on it. And what I'm doing is I need to come up with a name for it, but right now it's called Things I Found Helpful slash Interesting in the month. And what this is I'm constantly taking in new information, whether it's from podcasts, whether it's from TV shows, whether it's from um, online articles, whatever. I'm always like kind of taking it in, and I'm that's how I like get ideas for stuff to write, get ideas for novels and stories and things like that. So I wanted to kind of compile a list for you of these things and give you links that you can check them out yourself. I mean, some of it's videos, some of it's articles, some of them are podcasts you can listen to, but I've compiled a list to this. But you have to be a subscriber on my list to get this list of stuff. So if you're looking to get this list, I know some of you are going to watch this after the fact, but I'll give it until maybe Monday. Maybe Monday. If you subscribe to my list by Monday, you're going to get this list, or by the end of the month, basically. January 31st, that's Monday. If you subscribe by Monday, which would be Wednesday for okay, I'll send it out Wednesday because that'll be definitively the end of the month for the entire world, not just here in Japan. Um, then you will get this list of stuff, and it varies, right? I'm looking at it now. Um, yeah, there's TV shows. I put my own writing, a lot of the stuff that I wrote this month. Um, Yeah, there's some I'm really interested in crypto and Web3 stuff. I've definitely been reading a lot and listening a lot about that stuff because it's just changing so fast, and it's gonna change how we do business in a major way. It already has in some places, in some fields. So yeah, if you're interested in that stuff at all, if you're interested basically learning with me about stuff that I find interesting that maybe you'll find interesting too, then consider joining my email list. And remember, this time I may find a way to like automate it in the future, but I don't have it set up because I literally just came up with this yesterday. So we're gonna try this out and see what happens. But if that's something that sounds like you're interested in, consider joining my list. And you can join at, of course, my website, keithhayden.net. You can join there. And okay, got about 10 minutes left. And I wanted to close with what's coming up for next month. So next month is February. It's Black History Month. Yeah, let's go. And I want to continue something that I started last year. Last year, when I was teaching at the school, I kind of took a pause in whatever I was reading to read a Black history book or a book that was like about Black culture. Um, and I'll pull out the book now because this is an awesome book, y'all. The Destruction of Black Civilization um, by Chancellor Williams. It was written back in the 1970s, but it is just, I don't know, like I'm Black and I was like, this is definitely some like deep, um, yeah, they're not going to teach you this in any school. This is like a Black study, African American studies. Um, it was on their curriculum, and I can't remember how I found it, but it's an amazing book that just kind of talks about um, like the origins of Black people. Like it goes way, way, way back, like way before slavery days and all that stuff. Like it's like 3000 BC stuff, like talking about how the ancient Black civilizations were and kind of how they spread out. And he takes a critical look, and it's not just like one of those, you know, black pride things. Oh, black people good, white people bad. It's not those types of books. This type of book, it's like the story of um, how black people came to be, and of course, he does talk about like eventually racism and how it, especially he's writing this and doing his research in like the 1950s and 60s. I think it took him something like 20 years or something to compile the research for this. He traveled all over the world getting information for this. It's an excellent book. It's really good. So I read that last year. So I'm not sure what I'm going to read this year, but I have a list of books that I know I can pull from. So I'll be doing that. Um, and then business formation, that's the goal. The goal is to have the business formed by the end of next month. Hopefully, I have a long checklist of stuff that I'm trying to make sure I don't miss. Like I said, blind spots, right? I have a lot of them when it comes to this because I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to plug those holes and make sure that when I launch, it's good to go. It's not set it and forget it, but it's like I don't want to be fooling with my business structure or, worried about, how is this going to be on the taxes or anything like that. I want to make sure all that stuff is like solid. So once the business is formed, I can just focus on being in business and doing the reason why I started the business, which is to make stuff and do my own stuff. So yeah, hopefully if I don't have it established by the end of next month, then hopefully I'm on my way, very close by the end of next month. And then last thing I want to do next month is just continue more writing. I did a lot of writing this month, and it was great. I'm trying to see how many pieces I wrote. One, two, three. Yeah, three, five, six. So I wrote six different articles this month, and that's good. That's about in line with what I'm trying to do. Because as I said, like um, I'm trying to consume less, but I'm trying to go deeper into the stuff that I actually consume. So if I listen to a long podcast or something, or I read a very insightful article that makes me think about something, then I'm trying to like stop and be like, okay, what did I actually think about that? What did I actually get out of that? And how can I apply it to something that I'm actually working on or something that I care about? I think it's important to do that because this is, I've talked about it several times before, I think on live streams, but um, yeah, we live in a very consumption focused world, right? It's always the news feed, right? It's the next article, it's the next video. It's just quick, 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 swipe, swipe, swipe. And the critical thinking, right? It doesn't really happen as much, it's just not there because there's always the next thing to consume, right? So I'm trying to get out of that and limit my social media time as much as possible. And I'm trying to um, really internalize the stuff that I'm consuming and not just to consume and be mindful about what I'm consuming. I think it's helpful for me, it's helpful. That's how I reflect is to write about it or, maybe I'll do a recording, put it on Vurbl, Tech Thoughts or whatever. But yeah, trying to get better at that in general. And I think that's something that we could all get better at because it just seems like it's just endless. And it is endless. You could just be scrolling for hours, just reacting to stuff. And then, um, yeah, I saw a quote somebody tweeted this morning and he was like, yeah, I feel like I've been a big consumer and I want to be more of a creator. And I responded, I was like, it's consumption of content and material is kind of necessary to creation, right? Because that's where you get ideas. That's where you get inspired. Um, it's hard to create something from nothing. You can, but it's very difficult. But on the other hand, like there's definitely a balance to be struck between consuming too much and creating stuff, especially if you aim to be a creator. That's your goal. So I try to spend more time creating than consuming. Still consume, definitely, but, um, creation is the goal. Like, the end game for me is always creation. So, I don't know. Maybe you can take that with you. And got about 5 minutes left. That's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about. Man, so I've been talking for an hour, and all I had was, I don't know if these are spam bots or what. I don't know if there were actually people in here in this live stream, so that's a little sad. But that's okay because I know there's always people that watch these after the fact, and I know the right people will see it. Like, and that's one thing I've gotten. I'll say this: as I've done more and more stuff online, I've been pushing more content out, more stuff. It's like, sure, a lot of people will see your stuff, and most won't. They won't give a shit. They won't care. But once the right people see it, that's all I care about. Like, is that the right people come along, and that's what's been happening more and more. Sure, 7,000 people impressions can see my meme or whatever, but only a few of those will resonate with really what I'm doing. Only a few of those will look further. Those of you who joined my list for Japanese. Oh, Johnny, you're there? Hey, hey, bro. I thought I was over here all alone all this time. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, bro. The doctor is in the house. He's here. But yeah, those of you who joined my Japanese list, thank you very much for yeah, believing in me because I know obviously I don't look the part, right? I'm obviously not Japanese, but I really am passionate about getting people to practice and learn languages. I love doing that, and it's it kind of sucks that it doesn't work out as like a business, but I'm still going to be doing it. I'm still going to be sharing my own language learning stuff. And I've started to just last night. I started to, I talked about that pyramid, right, of people learning languages. I'm starting at the bottom of that pyramid. So the people that just want to learn phrases, hey, here's a video of phrases and so on. And I've got other plans for other content that I'm going to push through my Facebook page, Tower of Babbling, Learn Japanese. So I will link to that if I can get there. Here it is. Let me get out of this before it starts playing my own playing my own audio. Yeah, so you can go if you like if you like that page, then especially if you're here in Okinawa or if you're here anywhere in Japan, then you're going to yeah, you're going to see the updates when I update it. And if you're at all interested in learning Japanese to a deeper level than just getting a few phrases, eventually I will get there. Don't worry about it. Um, oh, also, I wanted to say, people are probably asking, like, what happened to Tower of Babbling Japan? Well, that kinda goes along with the marketing and the business sense, right? I'm no longer I'm trying to get out of the mindset of just thinking like a hobbyist and thinking like a language enthusiast. Like, when I think as a business person, as some business, I'm like, what is the point or what is the goal of the podcast? And that's what I've been kind of wrestling with. And I've gone through a few iterations in my head of how it can be actually from a business standpoint as well as from a teaching Japanese standpoint, how it could be useful and fit both of those aims. But I haven't really like finalized that yet, and I'm still working on it. So that's why I haven't done any episodes this year at all because I'm just like, okay, how can I use this for business and still teaching Japanese? Of course, it's still going to teach Japanese, but then how does that look like operationally as far as actually producing the show and what, length and content and all that stuff? It all kind of aligns. And I haven't thought through all of that yet. So it's still there, it still exists, but it's going to evolve. It's going to change just as my business outlook has. So um, we will we will see about that. So man, I got another spam comment. I don't know what's going on with these spam comments. Van Rent. I don't know. Point is, socials. Where can you find me? Um, I'm in a lot more places these days. You can find me on Medium. Medium articles. I write on there. So you can find me there. Of course, LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. Where's my LinkedIn? Oh, there it is. Oh, I put the wrong medium in there. All right, here's LinkedIn, and you can also find me on Vurbl, as I mentioned before. And then there's Twitter. I have 3 different Twitters. You for my web dev stuff, you go to KH at KH_webdev, or general Twitter. Like, this is like business, writing, video games, movies, pretty much whatever I want. You go to this one. That one, yeah, just kind of a catch-all. And then there's language Twitter, KH_way too lang. It's there. And then finally, of course, there is my website, keithhayden.net. As I mentioned before, if you are interested in getting your hands on, I need to come up with a name for it, y'all. I haven't come up with a name. I was telling my wife the other night, like several weeks ago, I had some. This is my notebook where I write down all my stuff. This is my Da Vinci style notebook. um, yeah, I write like, and it's funny this notebook because some of it's like lists, like of stuff. I just write like, this is what I'm gonna do. It's that I'm a student. I'm a proponent of stoicism. So this is one of their tenets, of course, is like journaling and reflection and things like that. So I was trying to come up with a name. This is funny. This should be like an outtake or something, but it's not. It's still going to be in the live stream. I was trying to come up with a name for like this newsletter, and I wanted it to be like, okay, my initials are KH, right? Keith Hayden. So I was like, I need like a word that starts with K and then a word that starts with H. And then that was like going to be the naming convention. So it's like KH and then K word, H word. So when I started looking into K words, y'all, there's not a lot of good K words. First one I came up with is kill, knowledge. Um, those were probably the only good K words that I came up with. And of course, kill is out. You don't want people like, oh, get your kill Harold or something. That's not gonna work. So I went with knowledge. I was like, okay, and then I came up with all these H words. And then I told my wife, and she was just sitting there like, can you think of anything better? So I said knowledge head first. Knowledge hustle. Knowledge hustle that was a high candidate. Knowledge hardcore. Okay, maybe. Knowledge humankind. Knowledge horizon. Knowledge haven. Knowledge havoc. Knowledge hero. Knowledge habit. I don't know. Maybe you put in the comments if you think any of those are good. My wife. And then she was like, Joanna was like, knowledge doesn't even sound, it sounds like it starts with an N. I mean, if you see it, then it's like, it doesn't, Keith knowledge, it doesn't work like the way I wanted it to. I like knowledge habit, but it just sounds kind of plain. It sounds kind of bland, but I don't know. I'm probably not gonna use that. I need to come up with a different convention. So for right now, it's just gonna be called Things I Found Helpful, Interesting and Helpful, January 2022. Very, very military, very bland. Just like, okay, here's exactly what it is. That's the title. Keith's interesting, helpful knowledge, FY22. You like knowledge havoc? Knowledge havoc almost made my top 3 list, but it was just like, nah, No, it's not really that good. All right, y'all. You know I like to keep these to an hour. I respect your time, and I appreciate those of you who are watching this after the fact. Once again, if you're watching this like a few days after, if you want to get your hands on some knowledge havoc, some yeah, if you want to get become a knowledge hero, then sign up for my list, and then I will send this out to you, and in the future you'll get more of some of the stuff I find cool, and maybe some stuff to think about for the future that I'm watching closely. All right. Thank you for your attention. I'm gonna figure out how to shut down this live stream. Oh, okay, there's the end stream button. All right, I will see everybody um, at some point in the future. I don't know. And all these bots that were on here, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't see you again. All right, bye. I'll talk to you later. Have a good